Hey everybody, this is Movie Man Matt coming at you with a brand new top 5 list. So, because Marvel just ended its phase 2 with Ant-Man and the reboot of Fantastic Four coming out this weekend, we decided to take a look at the best and worst Marvel movies of all time. So, starting with the worst, number 5, Spider-Man 3. Now, this movie had a lot of hype being the sequel to Spider Man 2 and had a lot of potential to be a great movie, but failed by trying to cram too many elements into one movie. It changed Peter Parker completely and acted as if the first two movies never happened and his character was completely redeveloped for this film, which made it very unenjoyable and very rough to watch as the plot had a lot of holes and didn't quite make sense. Number 4, Daredevil. Now, this movie is basically Ben Affleck's audition for Batman. This movie took a hero that was somewhat known and made his origin story very confusing and took his biggest villain and made his motives unrealistic and downright stupid, making for a film that had poor CGI and a plot that just didn't hold weight and throwing in characters that weren't necessary throughout the entire film, leaving you wondering if it was even a superhero film in the first place. Number 3, Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer. Now, though the first one wasn't the best, the sequel definitely didn't do it justice. Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer took one of the biggest villains in the Marvel universe, Galactus, and turned him into a planet eating cloud and took Silver Surfer and made him his henchman. On top of that, the Fantastic Four themselves are using their powers for dance battles and to heat up soup, which makes the whole film very difficult to watch with a plot that doesn't feel like a superhero film, feels more like a Michael Bay movie where astronauts need to go save the world again. Number 2, Ghost Rider, Spirit of a Vengeance. Now, we've all seen Nicolas Cage portray himself on the screen, but this took it to a whole new level. This film, throughout the whole movie, is Nicolas Cage basically being himself. Through his rants and screaming and terrible CGI, the plot was basically tweaked just a little bit from the first Ghost Rider and then put on screen with a terrible script, bad effects, and a director that just didn't quite hit the mark on what this movie was supposed to be. It's even hard to consider it a superhero film in a lot of ways. And number 1, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Now, this movie had promised to finally show the origins to one of the fan favorite Marvel heroes, Wolverine. And it took this idea and threw it out the window. Whether it was the bad effects or one of the biggest villains and favorite characters, Deadpool, being shown as a laughing stock, or even Gambit, who only gets about 5 minutes of screen time, or if it's the confusing origin story that they show for Wolverine that doesn't add up or is in line with the other X-Men movies. Take your pick. Either one, this movie is difficult to follow, hard to watch, and just overall a very unbalanced film. But where there is bad, there is always good. So the 5 best Marvel movies. Number 5, Spider-Man 2. Now, this movie was the sequel to one of the very first superhero films that got the attention of the public. Spider-Man 2 shows the everyday struggles that the hero has with the mask off. In this movie, Peter Parker has a handful of struggles, whether it's his best friend hating him, not being able to pay his rent, or the woman of his dreams, him not being able to express his love for her. On top of that, the villain he has to face was once his mentor. This movie laid the foundation and the platform for all future Marvel movies, which really says a lot as you can see elements of Spider-Man 2 in the current Marvel movies that have come out today. Number 4, Iron Man. This movie kicked off Marvel's Phase 1 and the build-up to Avengers. It also shows Tony Stark before he becomes Iron Man as a playboy alcoholic who doesn't take responsibility for any of his actions. But through the course of the film, he starts realizing his wrongs and tries to do them right by becoming Iron Man and realizing that the way he's been living isn't right, which sets up a film that is full of great one-liners, a lot of comedic value, a plot that holds weight, and is just very fun and enjoyable to watch. Every scene of the movie is just really great when it comes to Iron Man fighting or Tony Stark being himself. It just makes a very fun superhero film. Number 3, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Now, this movie was right after the Avengers and shows the effects of Captain America dealing with adapting to being in the new age and losing everybody he once knew from World War II, and also shows that not every hero is going to come out on top at the end of the film. Though Captain America does win the battles throughout the film, by the end, he has still lost a lot throughout this film. And throughout the course, it shows every element that makes a good superhero film. A villain that can stand and hold his own, a evil plot that is underlined through the entire thing, and Captain America staying true to himself, but also with a little bit of confliction on the reasons why he is fighting. Number 2, The Avengers. Though this is definitely one of the best Marvel movies, the only thing is it can't hold up by itself. Without seeing any of the previous Marvel movies of Phase 1, you really don't get the full value of this film. But this film is very fun throughout the course, enjoyable with great action scenes, and it does a very good job at splitting the time on screen between the characters and between the heroes, and shows that in the end, coming together to face the villain is better than trying to stand alone. Which leads us to number 1, Guardians of the Galaxy. This is one of the most fun, most enjoyable, well-rounded superhero films out. This movie takes 5 brand new characters that not many people had heard of before the movie, gives them a perfect balance of screen time with just enough backstory and development throughout the course of the entire film that by the end, you're connected and you enjoy every moment these characters are together, and shows that you don't always have to be the man on top to come out on ahead. Also, this movie does a great job at continuing to expand the Marvel Universe and everything that's inside of it. So there you have it. That is the top 5 best and worst Marvel films out to date. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you thought. If there's a movie that you think should or shouldn't be on this. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page. The link is in the description. And be ready for Friday's video, a review of the new Fantastic Four movie. So don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for listening.